Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right.
Hey, Facebook family.
It's going down. It's going down. It's going down. It's going down. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday. It's a thankful Thursday. And I am your host, Crisette Ellis from the D. And you are listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF. I got issues, you got issues, we all got issues. And I am so excited, you guys, that we are with you on Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. You can listen to us talk about all the issues. It's a power-packed hour. It's talk radio. And we absolutely look forward to connecting with you. We're talking about hot topics, current events, our issues, your issues, and everything in between. And you know what? We absolutely love it when you call in and share your opinions and issues with us. So don't be shy. Call us at 313-778-7600. Because you know what? This crew, we promise to keep it positive, powerful, but not Pollyanna. And you know what? Of course, you know, every day we are here with our girlfriends, the force of friendship. My co-host for today is Gloria, my home girl, Gloria from the Z, residing in Ellicott City, Maryland, along with Sabrina Goodwin Monday. You know what, you guys? Let me just say this. You don't know this because you're listening on the radio, but she is not on Facebook Live with us today. She's in the car with her main man, Kenny. Okay, you guys, there he goes. What up, Kenny? What up, Kenny? Okay, they are driving in the car, you guys. You know, she is getting ready to move from her beloved Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and they are moving to Ohio, and she'll talk about the exact place in Ohio where she's moving to. But I'm excited because guess what? She's going to be closer to the D. And so I know that we're going to be doing some things together. And let me just say this. We are absolutely missing our girl, Caterina Harris Earl. You know her from the West Coast, the San Francisco Bay Area. And you know what? She's the girlfriend that lives in two places, San Francisco, the West Coast, and in Chicago. You guys, you've heard her talk about it this week. She's out today. She's with her grand boys, and you better believe they're doing something fun, but you better know it has an educational piece to it. So Caterina, I'm not sure if you're listening. We're missing you, girl. We're missing you, but we know that you'll be with us on tomorrow. So you guys, today, we are so excited to have joining us one of our best friends. Matter of fact, our best friend. We talked about a couple of days ago. You can have more than one best friend. So get over it. If somebody say you their best friend, and then you hear a couple of weeks that she calls somebody else her best friend. Well, we got a best friend that lives in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and she is here today with her amazing husband, and is none other than Nora Shariff Borden and her wonderful husband, Neil. You're going to hear from them in just a few minutes. But today, we want you to lean in today, because this is a topic that every single one of us can relate to. And I know that you can relate to it. We're going to be talking about the power of a dream. And we're going to be talking about, how do you make that dream become a reality? And we know that there are sacrifices that you have to make in order to make your dream come true. So come on, Detroit, and all of you that are listening from all across the country and even across the world. I know you are a dreamer, and you've had to make some sacrifices. So we want you to call in and tell us, what are some of the sacrifices you had to make your dream a reality? You know the number, 313-778-7600. And so before we meet our fantastic guest on today, I'm going to throw it to my girl, Gloria Mayfield Banks. And when I tell you, I called her and we were texting, and she said, it's going to be a little minute before I can get on Facebook with you guys. I'll be on the phone because, I just got off the helicopter and I'm waiting for the lift. Now, you guys, most people, texted like, I just got out of the taxi cab, or my girlfriend just dropped me off. She texts, I just got off the helicopter and I'm waiting on a lift. So you know what? I don't know why she was on the helicopter, but Gloria, can you please tell us why you were on a helicopter?
Girl, I don't even know where to start. First, I want to tell you, I'm so excited about this show. Hey, Neil. Hey, Nora. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this show. There's a whole lot of noise. Okay, you hear me now? Now we can, yeah. Okay. Let me know. So you guys, I'm so very excited. Just got off the Grand Cardone helicopter. We're down here in Miami. We're flying around, looking at Miami. Okay, so I just have discovered why people love Miami. I just discovered, just an hour ago, why people love Miami. It is beautiful from way up there in the sky. There's water everywhere. The buildings are everywhere. The sun is everywhere. I mean, for real. But seriously, this helicopter, you guys, listen. Pfizer. It used to be Pfizer, because Pfizer has made a whole bunch of money. They sold out 4 of their helicopters. They sold 2 of those helicopters for $17 million. They just rehabbed the entire, redid the entire helicopter. It's absolutely gorgeous. They're only like, I don't know, 10 helicopters in the United States of this size. Helicopter that commercial people can ride on. It was amazing. And one of the things I know is that when you really are ready to take your mind to another level, you go around people that are at another level for sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, Sabrina, we can hear you. Can you hear Gloria? I can hear Gloria, but I'm just okay. We got it sometimes. We got issues. Sometimes. We got issues. You got issues. We all got issues. Listen. The other thing I want to talk about just real briefly is I want to talk about the fact that we are very cautiously watching how the variant is coming to play. And so it was so interesting to get off a helicopter from Pfizer, right? Then get on a helicopter owned by Grant Cardone and the 10X Enterprise that is talking about what we can do to make the world better, to make our businesses better, to get people to grow and see more. So it's just very interesting what is going on in the world. And I mean, it's just so exciting. So we can talk some more about news. I'm shifting all over here to Sabrina and her man, King. I think just talk together. Sabrina, what's right? Where are you anyway?
He said Pilot Mountain State Park.
Okay, now she muted and she didn't.
all good. I really know where I am. I just see a sign that says Pilot Mountain State Park. We are on the highways and byways of North Carolina, not by helicopter, but by car, going to Ohio. We are house hunting. We are trying to find a place to live. We are moving in 5 to 6 weeks.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we are looking for, oh, what? Don't say that? Okay.
I'm listening to Gloria talk.
Oh, you're listening to Gloria talk? Okay, he's all confused. Okay. Well, you know what? It's all good. We're happy to be here. Gloria, we want to hear more about your helicopter ride. It's all good. I was just going to call in, but Caterina inspired me that even when I can't be on the show, try to be on the show. And so that's why I am broadcasting live from SGN Car. Some good news. So
helicopter every other day. This has been sort of place. I mean, this helicopter, y'all can tell you a little bit more. The helicopter is absolutely beautiful. The wings on the elevator, on the helicopter were absolutely changed. Absolutely. It's freshly painted. It's freshly carpeted. It's off-white. It is gorgeous. It is a bird, y'all. It is a bird. And then they took us along the beach so we could see Grant just bought a brand new home, his home on the beach, on the water. And see all these $1 billion buildings. I mean, it's just amazing. For real. I mean, I just don't talk about the news for real. That was amazing. That's the news. That's the news right there. That's the news. And you know what, Gloria? This is really such a great segue into our topic for today, talking about you know, that you have had some of the most incredible experiences that some people will only imagine. But when you have those kind of experiences, it does open up your mind to want to dream bigger. Even though you're doing big, there's always another level. So I think that's a great segue into our topic for today. And so we're talking about the power of a dream. And we know a dream is going to cost you something. A dream is going to cost you something. And so on today, I'm excited about our guest that we have on today. We have our girlfriend, Nora Shariff from Stone Mountain, Georgia, along with her wonderful husband, Neil, and we're going to welcome them into the show. There they are. For those of you that are watching on the Facebook Live, either on the Force of Friendship page or on the 910 AM Facebook page, you can see Neil and Nora. And so, you know what, let me just tell you a little bit about them, and we're going to go right to our conversation and see how much we can get in before we go to our break. Well, what I know is I met Nora through the business that we are all connected through, and she was building her business for over 27 years. You guys, an incredible business, entrepreneurial business. She and Neil have been married, you guys, for 33 years. 33 years. And I'm telling you, talk about it. Come on. 33 years. 33. Okay? Don't be turning your face up. You know, Neil is an angel. Trust me when I tell you. He's been married for 33 years. We know he is an angel. We know. All right? And you guys, can you believe, if you, to our radio listening audience, you can't see her, but when I tell you she looks absolutely amazing. She has 14 grandchildren. 14, yes. I did not misspeak. 14. And she has one great grandchild. And so at this time, I want to welcome to the show. We're going to go right into it before we have to get to our break. And so I want, we got issues to give a big round of applause to Nora Shariff and Neil Borden. Okay, we're accustomed to getting applause, but that's okay. All right. Neil, thank you. Okay, I was waiting for it. about the power of a dream. And so, Nora, I'm just going to start right with you. And I want to ask you, tell us a little bit about your journey, why you decided to become an entrepreneur. Let's start there. Why you decided to become an entrepreneur?
Well, one thing for sure was, Chris, that I realized early on in life I didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to work for myself. And so I've been in business. I haven't worked for anybody in probably close to 15 years. Just my sister and I had a fashion design business. It goes way back. It's always something. After that, I had a nail salon with a really good friend of mine. And then, of course, I got involved with Mary Kay. So it's always something that I could do for myself that would always not only be impactful for me, but impactful for my family. And I feel like that's the only way we really can. You know, the Bible says God gives us the ability to produce wealth. I don't believe He's given it to us to produce it for others. He's given it for us to produce it for ourselves. And it takes people so long to figure that out, but it didn't take me long to figure that out because I didn't want to be told what to do. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So that was one of the main reasons I started or considered becoming an entrepreneur and owning my own business.
And you know what, Nora, talk a little bit. Sometimes people think that in order to be successful, that everybody has to do it one way. And when I say that one way, you know, sometimes people think, you know, if I don't go to college and get a 4-year degree and then go get a master's and then go get a doctorate, I can't be successful. So talk a little bit about your journey with going to school and making the decision, you know, that it wasn't for you.
I think one of the things was I shared in my book, Why Are You Sitting on Your Greatness, was early on in my life, I was put into a special needs classroom. And back then, special needs was mentally challenged, deaf, and blind people. So you can imagine what that did to my self-esteem, because that was none of those things. But, you know, I was just writing today about how God had a ram in the bush, and his name was Mr. Nash. He was my next year teacher, and he looked at me and said, you know what, you are smart, you don't belong here. Work with me really hard to get out of that and go into a regular classroom and then on to high school. But I realized that early on, I went to college for 2 semesters, and it just was not for me. And I think, you know, it's okay. It doesn't mean you can't be successful because you didn't go to college, like you said, you have a master's degree. And for me, I think for so long, I got caught up with all my friends who had master's degrees. They went to college, but I didn't go to college. And so I had to overcome that. It was okay, and that I could be successful even though I didn't go to college. That doesn't signify that you can't be successful because you didn't go to college, because it's not for everybody, you know.
Absolutely. And I think that is so important because sometimes people think, and I mean, you can Google and find so many amazing people who have done phenomenal things, and, you know, they went a different route. And so we're up against a few minutes before our break, but let me ask you this. As you began to build your business, can you talk about, you know, some of the things that you had to do in order to build that business? And then after the break, when we come back, I want you to talk about how your business took a turn at and you came to a crossroad, a big decision that you had to make. So just kind of talk about some of the things that you had to do in order to build your business.
For me, early on, when my sister and I had a fashion design business, one thing I knew that I had, and that was hustle. I knew how to hustle. And I love the fashion industry. And so I was the one, my sister was a behind the scenes person. She was a designer, but I was the one that was out meeting the people, going to the boutique shop, selling the items and getting contracts. So I knew I had that hustle. And because I had that hustle, it was easy for me. You know, it was easy for me to see that I could make that adjustment. I could make that change for myself and become a successful businesswoman. And that's exactly what we did in that particular industry at that time. And so what woman doesn't love clothes, you know? And so that was one of the things that I knew that I had that I think was an asset for me. And I think it's still an asset for me today, you know, the fact that we have hustle. And I think that a lot of times people don't really They find it hard to be successful for the lack of that hustle, that sense of urgency, do it now, get it done kind of thing. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, the hustle. Yes, that is so important. Well, we're getting ready to go to break. You're listening to 9:10 a.m., the Superstation. We're talking about the power of a dream. And we will continue the conversation with the one and only Nora Shariff and Neil Borden right after this break.
Hey, to our Facebook audience, we're not really able to share until Gloria gets on because Sabrina's on the road and Gloria isn't on right now. So you guys are just going to have to hang out with us for a few minutes, and then Gloria would be on. And normally, of course, we do this. We talk to our Facebook audience as well. And so what we want you to do is we want you to put it in the chat. What are some of the dreams that you have, some of the big dreams and goals that you have set for yourself? And then what are some of the sacrifices that you have had to make? And you know what? Some of you have had to make some huge sacrifices because we know the power of a dream is going to cost you something. So we would love for you to call in and share with us what are some of the sacrifices you had to make in order for your dream to become a reality. You know the number, 313-778-7600. Okay, so call in, you guys. I'm telling you, I love what Nora said. She said the hustle. I always say, if you don't have hustle ability, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to sell yourself to anybody. You got to believe in yourself. You have to be that person that is not going to give up on your dream. And so you got to hustle. I always liken it to the man that sells things in New York. He have on that big coat. He opened up one side and he tries to sell you something. You're like, I'm not interested. Do you think that deters him? Absolutely not. He opens up that other side and he says, what about now? And sooner or later, you're going to find something that he's selling that you're going to buy because he is a hustler. So you know what? To have a big dream, you absolutely have to have hustle ability. So again, put in the chat, what are some of your big dreams and some of the things that you've had to do? And we absolutely would love for you to call in and share it with us. All right.
Listening to 9:10 a.m. the Superstation with We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, and we're excited to be hanging out on today with Nora and Neil Borden, and we are talking about the power of a dream, the power of the dream. What are you willing to do in order to make your dream become a reality? Because you know what? You can dream it. A lot of people have dreams, and sad to say, many of them die with their dreams, die with their song never being sung. But I'm telling you, this chick right here, trust me, she was about it. She was about it. And so prior to the break, she was just talking about one of the things that you have to have is hustle ability. When I tell you this chick is a hustler, what I know for sure about Nora, she ain't never going to be broke, y'all. She ain't never going to be broke because she absolutely is a hustler. And I mean that from the sense of, she is a bulldog when it comes to, her goals and what she want to do. And so I want Nora to kind of talk about the sacrifice of a goal. Sometimes you have a goal and a dream. There are things that you have to do that's unconventional, and sometimes people don't understand. So, Nora, just kind of talk to us about when you came to that crossroads in your business. Well, as you know, I was in Mary Kay. At that time, I was a sales director. Rebuilding my business and wanted to move to a different area. And I wanted to say, it could be Mary Kay, it could be anything you want to do. It could be any business. It just happens to be the business that I was in with Mary Kay. And so I went to visit a place called Durham, North Carolina. But I wanted to say, back then, living in Boston, the percentage of African American people in the city was probably about 10 to 15%. So there was a very low population of us. And I wanted my youngest daughter, because my oldest daughter was on her way to college. So she was going to a historic black college. So she was going to see that exposure. But I didn't feel like my youngest daughter was going to. And I wanted her to see a place where there were people that looked like her, and there were many people there, which there were. And so I went to visit, loved it, absolutely loved it. Called my husband and said, "Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is amazing. We're going to move." And he just said, "I don't think so." He said, "Well, if you want to move, you can." And so I did. I made that sacrifice. We talked about it. I made that sacrifice. The was getting ready to go to college. Aisha was still in middle school. So he, along with a neighbor of ours who was next door to us, Belinda, coincided, worked together and took care of the kids while I went to North Carolina to make that sacrifice. And it made a major difference when I moved there because of how, it turned out so great, living there and just seeing black people, like 55% of African Americans in Durham, North Carolina, when in fact from 55%, from 15% to 55%, that was like a major. That was like Black Wall Street to me. I was like, oh my God, this is like so amazing. I just loved it. So awesome. Well, real quickly, that's great, Nora. I want to shift real quickly to Neil. So Neil, can you just kind of share with us, what were your thoughts when Nora came in, first of all, and said, "Guess what, honey? We're, you and I, the family, we exactly together." So I'm right, and you're saying it's right. So exactly. So tell us, what was in your head?
So for me, it wasn't, difficult as Nora made it seem. To me, I felt like I wanted to move to Georgia anyway, for Georgia. And I'm thinking, well, North Carolina, it's not that I get an exam for Georgia. So I said, well, that's fine, Nora. I didn't make it, I didn't give it a hard time with it. At the time, I didn't want to move to it. At the time, it wasn't ready for me. I pretty much just started a new job. I was trying to get established. And, when you have a new job, trying to carry, for me anyway, trying to carry the insurance and all that, keep everybody insured. So I didn't think it was a bad idea. I said, well, that's fine. I can deal with, the kids. But, it was an exciting time. I knew Nora was excited about her business, and I felt her excitement. And I knew it was something that she really wanted to do, and I felt good about her going to make that choice. And, I wanted to support her in making that decision. So I said, fine, let's go. Let's take care of it.
Wow. When I tell you, okay, I need somebody to give me a big round of applause for Neil, just like that. When I tell you, you get the Husband of the Year award just for that. Okay? When you say, listen, you didn't have a problem with it at all. So Neil, you know what? That's absolutely awesome. You were excited, and you know what? I think that's so powerful is that, when we have, big dreams, it's so important that we get our family to buy into that dream, because it makes it easier for us to pursue it when we know we have the support, right? And if you don't have the support of your husband, it's very challenging. You can do it, but it's going to cost you a whole lot. And for so many women, it cost them their marriage because their husband just couldn't buy into their dreams. So, Neil, can you talk about, what were some of the challenges? I know you were excited, and once Nora, went to North Carolina and tagged you in, you got the girls, you got to make sure they're going to school, make sure they're eating, make sure they're going to, their different activities. Just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's several things. First and foremost, it was my job schedule. And I knew I had a good schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And I knew it was my job schedule. And I knew I had a good schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and look after two girls. And, I knew it was my job schedule where I could maintain everybody's needs and lo Now, that schedule was fine in the beginning. I was able to maintain what everybody needed. I was able to provide the security, babysit, the food.
Schedule changed. And that was one of the challenges. And, I had to make sure I was available for, especially the baby, Aisha at the time. And that schedule didn't provide me that opportunity. I had to look otherwise because I was going to be either an hour late or an hour and a half late, especially for her coming home from school. So I asked my neighbor if she could look out for me, if she could babysit at the time. So that became okay until, my youngest daughter, she was at the time turning into, a time when she was looking to have a boyfriend. And I was like, well, we don't have time for that, baby. We don't have time.
Did you tell her
that.
She ain't got time for that?
I sure did. I said, I don't have time for that, especially. So that was that was the challenge there. That was another challenge.
Okay.
And I think that became the major challenge, really, because I was just not ready to deal with anything like that, and I didn't look at having to deal with anything like that either. That wasn't one of the issues on the table. So when it came up, I was like, oh, wow, now, how are you going to deal with this? So
that's okay. So that is absolutely. I mean, the excitement. Nora's gone. Your schedule is such you could take the kids and take them to school, and then all of a sudden your schedule changed, and your daughter's at the age where she's talking, she's looking cute, and I mean that's what teenagers do. They find a boo, they get a boo. Okay, but it's so important that the parents got their eyes on who the.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
I hear a little feedback. Okay, I think it's gone now. So, Gloria or Sabrina, do you guys want to chime in? Did you want to ask Nora anything?
Nora and Neil. Actually, I got a question for both of y'all. Listen, here's what I want you to talk about.
Talk about how other people might have made you uncomfortable in your decision. Neil's standing behind you. He's with you. Let's go, let's do it. And Nora's all excited. Now you bring your excitement to someone who's not in your family, not in your business. Two kind of business, right? Not in your business, not in your family, not your kids. And you're like excited. And they're like, I know you're not going to move to North Carolina. I know you're not going to leave your man with your daughter. I know that. How did you deal with that piece of it?
I don't think I didn't tell very many people that I was moving.
Kept it to yourself.
It probably was my family that was probably the most. So my advice is when, like, I'm making a major decision right now, and my thing is, you got to be careful of who you share with, because if that's a decision you made and you're clear about that decision, the last thing you want to hear is you shouldn't do this and all these reasons why you should not do it. And right. So I was I have to say, I was very careful about doing that. And actually, I didn't tell them to the very end that I was moving. And I mean, the very end that I was moving. And I just told them, if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all, because I'm getting ready to do it.
Wow.
So that was my.
And you know what? I got one other thing to say, because Neil, I need to say this to you from the outside looking in. We were all very excited about the support you were willing to give her, because she was determined. She was super, super determined. And Neil was so cool. He was cool then. He's cool now. He was just super cool. We're like, wow, he's really cool. Like, he's really cool with this. So that honestly gave everybody a reason to be cool about whatever they were facing. Because Neil was like, okay, just as long as I don't got to move, we were all clear. Like, Nora's going, but Neil don't want to move down there. But she believed in the future. And it's just so exciting to see that happened, Neil. So, Neil, even though you were cool, to the listening audiences, what bump did you run up against that you didn't anticipate was going to happen?
Well, travel, one thing. I definitely missed her physically. And
right.
Being away from her, it wasn't like I could, drive there, be there in an hour or two. She was a distance away. So
right.
that part was a challenge. And, I would hear some things from my friends, man, you let your wife go down there, North Carolina.
Right.
And
right.
I said, hey, I got that part under control, man. You ain't got to worry about that. I feel comfortable with that. But, that did, come up, but it was okay. I wasn't, it wasn't an issue for me. But,
right.
the area where, I was lonely for, and, that was like, it in fact even made me think about moving down there, really.
Wow.
But
what you're bringing in, you're bringing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I felt I was so, I was really happy for her because I really felt, that she was onto something, and I felt her excitement about it, and that convinced me more than anything else that I just need to, just hang with her, instead of, giving her a hard time and, giving her something to think about in terms of me missing her. Or, I didn't want to burden her with, no issues. I wanted to let her take care of her business, and then we can decide what we were going to do in terms of moving, in terms of relocating, because we really hadn't made a decision about it. But, if she was establishing herself there.
This is so exciting because you're talking about how her dream ignited your dream. Like you weren't thinking about that, and now you saw something that you hadn't thought about because now she's moved away, and you started thinking about that dream differently. And I don't know how many zillions of listeners we have on today, but I just want to tell you that I'm glad Sabrina is listening because she needed to know what it's like when the enthusiastic spouse has a dream.
Say
and you weren't anticipating, and then all this beautifulness flows from this. So, we all got issues everywhere, but it's so exciting because Chris opened up this statement with, we can all speak to this. We can all speak to the way that relationships have survived is because everybody leans in to the power of their mate at the time their mate needs to make some changes. And so this is such an example because you guys talked about the beautifulness of it while we're watching Sabrina right in the middle of it. I mean, this is very, very exciting.
Right. And you know what? We want to hear from 1 second. No, we want to hear. We have a caller. We have a caller. Marathon, are you there? Are you there, Marathon? Marathon. Okay. I know you were hanging
on. You were hanging on. So call us back, Marathon. Thank you so much. He is one of our consistent listeners. And so we want to hear from you, Marathon. Go ahead, Nora. The other part of that
too is that, even we spent a lot of time traveling back and forth, and the fact that he was excited about my dream. But most importantly, I want to say that I have to say this. I have to say this about Ken. I have to say this about Gloria, Chuck, and I have to say this about Anthony and Kenny. We have happened to have husbands that have always allowed us to be us.
Right.
And we have always allowed them to be them. So it's not a matter of me asking his permission, can I go somewhere? Or him asking my permission, can he do something? It's just a like-mindedness. And he could see the bigger possibilities of what I was doing. when I explained to him what I was doing and the goal I had and the vision, most importantly, the vision I had. And so it was not hard for him to buy into the vision, because ultimately the vision included him. And I think that if men could see that when you have a vision, and this is just me, I want to go on record to say that you don't have to change your wife's vision to suit your vision. It's just because the vision should become like-minded together. So there was no need for him to try to change anything for me, because he saw the bigger picture. He saw what I was doing, and he saw the possibilities in it that could be beneficial to not only us, but our whole entire family.
So Neil, go ahead, Sabrina.
You guys are both such an example of what working together, trusting one another, being powerful prayer partners. You can create the dream life that you desire for your family. And it does take two. And just think how many women don't even have the courage to say, I want to do this. Or a man saying, I want to do that, because you don't think it's possible. And so, Nora, what you've always been good at is creating the vision for yourself and your family, which has been beautiful to watch. And I do believe that trust is so important, to say, I trust you in the vision. I believe wherever you're taking our family, it's going to be beneficial. And so talk a little bit about that. I mean, as we are on this road to Ohio, I remember when I stayed in Texas and Kenny and the boys moved to Oklahoma for a year.
Right.
For a whole school year. He had the boys for a whole school year because Sydney
was
her last year in high school, and we did not want to take her to a small town away from everybody her last year. So we made a deal. I said, Kenny, you like this deal? You take the boys, I stay with Sydney, let her finish, and we got a deal. Now, some families, that would have been a deal breaker.
Partnership.
But I think it's important that families know what's good for them, and no matter what everybody else has to say, you're okay with that. And so, Nora, you've been a great example to say, I'm not worried about whatever anybody else says. I know what works for us. And so talk a little bit about trust, having the vision, and taking God as your power partner to make those decisions.
Yeah.
I was reading something today in a book that I'm reading. It's Time to Advance by Chuck Pierce. And he said, when God calls you to do something, it's going to look totally crazy to everybody else. But if you hold fast to that vision and you don't lose sight of that vision, then you can see yourself on the top, on the other side of that vision. And so there was a lot of trust in our relationship. And I'm thankful, I publicly want to say thankful to him that he gave that trust, that he had that trust in me, that I was what I was doing and the vision I had. And I think the key thing that you said is it's a partnership. And I think that people have to realize your marriage, your relationship is a partnership. And that's what you have. And if you don't have it, then there is going to be a problem, like you said, Chris. And so we did have that. And he trusted me and I trusted him. We talked a lot. I drove back and forth up in that Highway 95 to Boston, like all the time. Me and my dog, G-Man.
You know what? That is so good. We have a couple of people that have chimed in the chat. Carolyn said, Neil is a man who knows who he is and allows Nora to be who she is. And that is so true. Does. That's so awesome. And then I love what, and this is so great because this show is giving people the permission to go ahead and dream big. Dorothy wrote, my mother is turning 70 this year and she has never owned her own home. I want to own a home. To attain it, I'll have to shatter my comfort zone. That is awesome. And of course, you absolutely have to shatter it. Real quickly, you guys, let me just give you 7 steps to achieve your dream. The first one is you got to dream it. Okay. You have to visualize it. Okay. So you got to dream it. The second one is you got to believe it. It's one thing to dream it, but if you say, oh, that could never happen to me, absolutely, it will never happen. The third thing is you got to see it. You got to picture it. You know, we are really, really big. I know Gloria, Sabrina, all of us have talked about, you know, making a vision board. I'm telling you, write the vision and make it plain. And I'm talking about pictures, make it plain. So you got to see it. Step number 4, you got to tell it. You know what? It ain't a real dream. It ain't a real goal if you're keeping it to yourself, right? But you got to scream it from the mountaintop. But you know what? I'm going to add to that. Only tell it to the people that are going to lift you up. Only tell it to the people that are going to say, you absolutely can do it. Anybody that's negative, don't tell them nothing. Okay. So you got to tell it. Number 5, you have to plan it. Okay. And Nora, I mean, her story is riddled with how she planned that move. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. You got to plan it. And then number 6, you have to work it. So you put your plan together and then you have to put legs behind that plan and work it. And I love the last step. And this is a step, believe it or not, that many of us miss. Enjoy it. We do all 6, right? And then we don't even stop to smell the roses. We don't stop to enjoy the fruit of our labor. So those are the 7 steps that you can use to help you reach your dream. Nora, so thinking back on that time, can you share with us, if you were to go back in time, what are some things that you would have done differently? What were some of the pros and some of the cons? Because I'm sure there are other people that are, you know, thinking about big dreams that they have. And so kind of talk about what are some of the things that worked and some of the things you would have done differently.
Wow. I don't know that there was anything I would have did differently, really, because I enjoyed I knew what I was doing. I had a plan. At first, I questioned the plan if I had to change anything. Somebody, I think it was Gloria, I don't know who said it, just be careful who you share your vision with, because people will, you know, tear it down. I think I was on such a mission to make this change in my business and in my life in general. Let's start there. That I didn't take the time to think about whether, okay, would I do this differently or do that differently or go this way or that way? I just did it. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't take time to think about it, because sometimes when you think about it, you take time to think about it, guess what? You talk yourself out of it. And I'm so glad that I didn't allow myself to talk myself out of it. I almost did. And I can remember calling Joyce Grady and she said, oh, get excited and stay excited. I know you can do it. Call me when it's done. You know how Joyce Grady was. So, you know, because I was like, oh my God, I think I might've made a mistake. You know, I moved here. I don't know anybody. I don't have any family. I don't have any friends, you know, but based on what I was doing, I had to stop and take a breath and believe that God knew greater and he had greater for me, even though I couldn't see it at the time, even though I couldn't see the manifestation of it. But I knew that if I stayed on track and kept doing the work, and of course, the rest is history.
Yes,
I can hear you.
One of the bravest women I know, one of the most courageous women I know. You're steadfast. You're very focused. When you make up your mind, the world better get out your way. That's all I know. And we see that over and over again. How there's so many listeners who want to dream, who want to push the go button, but something stops them. Give your top 3 tips of just pushing the go button, pushing past the fear.
You have to, you know what? One thing I know for sure, that fear and faith cannot operate in the same space. Yes, I was fearful at the time. You know, I questioned it, but I didn't share that with anybody. Of course, I questioned myself. But then there were so many people I had, like yourself and Gloria. I had to call Gloria every Sunday night. We had a conversation every Sunday night. To know that I had that connection helped me to overcome the fear of what I want to say this. That's a good question, Brittany. Your goal, your dream, your vision must be bigger, much larger than any fear that comes your way. Right. And I think when you're clear about that, then the fear, God can remove that fear. I believe God can do something with that. And I knew that this was a good time for me and it was my season. So I could either miss my season or stay messed up in my head about fear. And I just really didn't think about that because I was so on point. I was so like Chris says, a bulldog, but I was just determined to make this happen. So, when I'm determined to do something, I do it. And you can't be worried about what other people have to say. You have to feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's what you have that relationship with God with. You can talk to him. I think we act like we can't talk to him. Lord, hey, check this out. I'm really fear. When you go through the Bible, think of the countless people that had to do things, major things. Look at Ruth, right. and so you just have to look at where you're going, the direction in which you're going. And for me, it was so much larger. And I'm so thankful that I didn't get stuck there, because if I got stuck there, I would have never left Boston. I would have stayed there miserable. But the fact that we moved, and the lady Dorothy, we never owned a home, Dorothy, until later in life. We bought a home. So it's possible for your mother, even though she's 70 years old. People are doing a lot of things at 70. 70 is the new 50 or 60.
Talk about it, Nora. Talk about it. It's the new 50 or 60, and it doesn't have to stop you to do whatever it is that you want to do in life. You can do it. And so you just have to trust that you can do it. Second. When Sabrina asked you that question about fear, which was a really powerful question, but also talk about the fear and the pull. I felt like you had a pull. Like every time you were in Boston, you would go left, it wasn't working. You go right, it wasn't working. You go forward, it wasn't working. You were going around. It was almost like God was shutting down all the doors so that you would pay attention to where, and a lot of us have the pull. A lot of us have those things going on inside that we know we're not supposed to be in that place. No. But, you push through. Like, what did that feel like when you knew
it feels amazing.
It wasn't right for you to stay there and you needed to make a change?
Right. That's a good point, because this is the key thing. In life, we have death, we have sickness, we have all of those things, and they're real things, and we must deal with them. But most people don't really ever reach their full potential, because there is a journey to your destiny. And in spite of this sickness, in spite of the death, which you have to deal with, of course, but you stay on point to your destiny. And I think that's where I was. I just stayed on point to Emerald City, to achieving my goals on the yellow brick road like Dorothy. But I just couldn't allow those things to get in the way. And besides, I had already left. There was no way I was going to go back and have to hear what everybody had to say. I told you so. I knew it wasn't going to work. No, that wasn't going to happen. So people could see.
I have another question. Because both you and Sabrina brought this up, which is really big for women, which is you believe in your children will make it through the changes. The bounce back ability of our children to change when things have to change. You know what I mean? How did you sit down and articulate to your girls that mom's going to go to North Carolina and check it out? Because it's not just Neil that's changing. It's the family that changes.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
You can take that.
Okay, Neil said I can take that. He said you can take that one.
We love you, Neil.
I think Amina was very focused on, going to a historic Black college. So I think I was more concerned with Aisha. So when I got to a place because when I first moved there, the experience I had with the roommate was the roommate from hell. So that didn't work. So I ended up going back home, actually, and staying home until I got to the apartment that I was applied for. They had an opening. But after that, I just explained to them what I was doing. They understood. And then shortly after that, I came and got Aisha and took Aisha. And so she stayed with me so that Neil could continue his job. So with Amina, like I said, she was getting ready to go to school. She was excited about that. We were doing tours and visiting. And I was able to do that with her because the school that she was going to was in North Carolina. So that was real exciting. I think they were okay with it. They were pretty, I think they were okay with it. Again, when you are clear about your goal and your dreams and your destiny, you can sell it to ice to an Eskimo. You can sell it to your children. You can sell it because you can show them the bigger possibilities. And plus, my girls had experienced my world. They had experienced my world. And because they had experienced my world, they knew that greater things were coming. And I think that they were okay with that.
And you know what, Nora, what's really, really powerful about what you said, a lot of times we say, the Bible will say, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. And what we also know that means it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. And so because of your courage, because of you stepping way out of your comfort zone, I'm sure that your children were able to look at you, your daughters, your sons were able to look at you and say, wow, my mother did this. And then to be able to say, and my father supported it. When I tell you, that is such a great example that both of you gave to your children, that a woman can have a big dream and it's okay for her spouse to support it. It doesn't mean he's a wimp. It doesn't mean that he don't have his own goals. I think it's something beautiful, something powerful, just something that's just so awesome about a man that will support his woman and say, hey, go do you, because in you doing you make us better. So, that is just so awesome. And I know that, that has made a difference in their lives.
Right. And you know what? This is a partnership, not a dictatorship. This is a partnership.
Say that.
Not a dictatorship, And so that's if that's your case, then obviously. But we know that those are situations where people. He wasn't trying to tell me what I couldn't do or what I could not do, because he wouldn't know that it wouldn't work anyway. But it's just that we had a partnership together. That's what I want to get across. You got each and every look at Sabrina and Kenny got a partnership. Now he's excited about her moving to Ohio. She's going to get excited about moving to Ohio. But you know what I'm saying? It's a partnership, and that's the key thing. It's a partnership and not a dictatorship. And so that was really key for us. And for your children to see that. Your children need to see that that's a partnership and that you're working together. That sets the foundation. It says to a woman how I want to be, and it says to a man what kind of woman he wants, and a son what kind of, so it's a partnership. And I think, when Buddy looks and Kiera looks at you, they see a partnership at Greater Grace. And, Clutch and Juliana and Sabrina, her tribe,
Okay.
They see a partnership. The kids see a partnership.
Absolutely. I think that is so powerful. You guys, we are getting ready. I can't believe we could go on and on. This was such a rich conversation. You guys have been listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation, talking about dreaming big. Let me encourage you, get your dream big, and know that you have what it takes to absolutely make it.
And buy Nora's book.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Neil, for sharing on today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was awesome.
Did that? Oh, wait a minute.
That was so good. What? Thank you, Facebook. I hope you liked it. We'll be here tomorrow, 6 to 7.
Tomorrow. You guys, tomorrow we have a special guest tomorrow.
Right.
We will not be on Facebook tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be radio only.
Right.
Radio only. So we don't want you to just not tune in. We absolutely encourage you to download the 9:10 a.m. Superstation app so that you can listen to our special guest. Okay, it is going to be my husband is taking over the show.
Yes.
Tomorrow it's a takeover. Charles H.
And he's going to be amazing, you guys, amazing. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. So you don't want to miss the show. So again, we just don't want you to think, what happened? They're not here. Yeah. So we will be back on Monday. But again, we want you to make sure that you tune in. And guess what? Tell somebody, call a friend, tell them, hey, you got to check out We Got Issues, because you know what? We got some issues and we absolutely want to share them.
We're bringing on the bishop. Absolutely.
All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.